Here you go.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for, can you hear me okay? Thanks for coming. It's good to see so many familiar faces after 2 long years of not seeing faces. So thank you all for coming. Right now we're going to do the presentation for the Quilts of Valor, and we're in the process of getting the veterans up here now. And while they're getting arranged, I'll tell you just a little bit about the quilters that are creating these marvelous quilts for our veterans. Before we go any further, if any veterans in the crowd out there, raise your hand so the crowd can stand up, guys, stand up. Veterans, all veterans out there, stand up. Please give them a big hand and thank them for their service. God bless you all. And today, the ladies that work hard all year long to make these gorgeous quilts, we're honoring. We have 7 names on the list, but I think we have 5 of them here today to receive their quilts. And so we're going to get those veterans in here right now. And before we go, I'm going to turn the proceedings over to Dorothy Shelbrake. She's the young lady right here who organizes all of her quilters. They get together once a month and quilt and create these beautiful works of art for our veterans. So she's going to be making some announcements here in a second. Anyway, I hope you've all had a chance to thank any volunteers that you see for being here today and for working so hard to keep this festival going. It's been a struggle, but I think it's going really well. Attendance is good. People seem happy, and that's all we want. So, you ready, Dorothy? We're still looking for a couple of veterans. I thought they were here. Okay. We need Gene Jeanette. Is he out there, please, to come up? Lloyd Morris. Is there a Lloyd Morris anywhere? Anybody know where Lloyd is? Mark and John are here, the only 2. And Mike Tater was supposed to be here, but he's not going to make it either. So, well,
well, we do try to be flexible, so this is one of those times. Thank you all for being here. This is an honor for our veterans to have, it's an honor for us to have our veterans up here. And you are honoring them by being here. I hope that we find the rest of the fellows. This is our 3rd annual Quilt of Valor Award presentation. It is the Hilltoppers' honor to be here today. These ladies are all Hilltoppers to present these quilts to just a few of the bluegrass gentlemen. Now I know, as Glenn just said, we have many veterans out here, and we'd love to honor each and every one of you individually, and we're working at that. So we will do our best to get to all of you. Quilts of Valor is a nationwide organization made up of volunteers that make the quilts and to award them to our military, all branches. The quilts you see have been made by ladies that meet once a month in Winchester. They come from as far as Long Beach, Yorba Linda, Ramona, but they come to Winchester to work on these quilts. Each quilt takes an immeasurable amount of time. I know many people say, how long did it take to make this quilt? I don't know. Lots of hours. When we have an hour or 2, we work on it. Some days we get together and we work all day. So it's many, many hours in each quilt. And to make a quilt, it's hard to say exactly how much it costs, but it's about $300 a quilt. We use good fabric and good quilting on them. Since the beginning of Quilts of Valor in 2003, there have been 278,847 and plus these. So that's a lot of quilts throughout the nation. It is truly an honor and a pleasure to make these quilts. As we make these quilts, we pray for the veteran that we don't know that's going to get it, but we know a veteran will receive it. So that's part of what we do while we're sewing away. At this time, we would like to recognize and thank all veterans, which I just did. And you already stood up, so I won't ask you to again, but let's give the veterans another hand of applause. Okay. A little note there. Okay, thank you, veterans. You're all appreciated really, really a lot. I know you've all served in different places, different times, and you all have your story. And we just welcome you home, and thank you. Okay, so now we're going to get on with the awarding of the quilts. Okay, things are a little disorganized. Could you tell that? So we try our best. We have a poem that one of the ladies in our group wrote, and Rita Jones is going to read it for our veterans.
This was written in 2013 by a lady named Mary Welch. A few pieces of cloth from people who care to honor your service that only seems fair. Carefully chosen materials of red, white, and blue, sewn together for those patriotic and true. A top pieced together with caring and pride, then quilted with backing and warm layers inside. Every stitch and seam sewn from the very start with appreciation and gratitude straight from the heart. For you who have sacrificed for those here at home, may this quilt warm and comfort you wherever you roam. Our hope with this quilt is to make sure you knew we appreciate all you've done and all you've been through.
Okay, so we only have 2 veterans here, but we're going to show you the quilts that we have for all 5 veterans, and maybe they'll show up in any moment. John Carley and Mark. Wait. So we have John Carley and Mark Pullen and Mike Tater. Okay, thank you. We're glad that you appeared. Okay, so, no, not yet. You can go ahead and sit down. Okay, so, I'm talking to all 3 of you veterans right now. This is a certificate that is in your folder that we'll be presenting you. And what it says is August 21st, 2021, Summergrass Vista, the Quilts of Valor Foundation wishes to recognize you for your service to our nation. We consider it a privilege to honor you. Though you may never know, though we may never know, the extent of your sacrifice and service to protect and defend the United States of America. As an expression of gratitude, we award you the Quilts of Valor that you'll be receiving. And it is signed by Ann Rabin, who's the executive and founding director, and Barbara Myrick, who is our group leader. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about John Carley. He was in the Navy in 1955 to 1958. He was nuclear weapons 3rd class. He took care aware of the atom bomb. That's a little scary. He was on an aircraft carrier, the USS Lexington. So if any of you were on that carrier, come see John afterwards. He served near Japan, Hawaii, Philippines, and Guam with the atom bomb. He's a board of director of the North County Bluegrass and Folk Club, okay? And he plays the guitar. Okay, John, would you please stand up and show the audience to John first. Okay, this quilt was, could you read the label who that's made by? Each quilt has a label with their name, the date, and who made it. Pieced by Elise, my granddaughter. Oh, quilted by me. We have what you call a long arm that we quilt these on. And this is our honor to drape John with his quilt. Okay. John, we thank you for your service. I'll tell his story. Okay, Anne. Okay, Jean Jeanette isn't present right now, but he's here somewhere. He has active duty 1977 to 1981, reserve duty from 81 to 85 as a Navy corpsman. His boot camp was at Great Lakes, Illinois, served in Bethesda, Maryland, and ended at Balboa Hospital here in San Diego. He became a neuropsychologist, consulting and in private practice. He now is working with Wounded Warriors Homes and continues to help his country help their veterans. I think we need a hand for that. We need more men like him. And he plays the bass and the banjo. And who made this one? Oh dear, my granddaughter also made this one. Next we have Lloyd Morris. Is he around? Okay. I know. We don't know where Lloyd Morris is either. But if you see him, tell him to come on up and get his quilt. He was an airman, second class. Airman second. Is that what that means? Okay. He was in the U.S. Air Force from 1958 to 1962. He was in Greenland and the early warning system. He's stationed with all men, and he emphasized there were no women. And it was 60 below. He plays the banjo, and we don't know where he is. This is his quilt, and it's being shown by Rita and Mary. And who made this one? I think it was Pat Beeson. Yes, Pat Beeson comes to our bluegrass every year, Summergrass. And if she's here, Pat, would you raise your hand or stand up? Maybe the rain kept her home. Okay, Lloyd's on the phone. He couldn't make it. He says thanks to everyone from the bottom of his heart. Thank you, Julie. He's still there. Okay. Okay, fallen. Would you please stand up? Mark was in the Marine Corps, Lieutenant Colonel. He served from 1986 to 2009, and then 6 years were active, 21 years as a reservist. Are you still a reservist? Retired. He's got a big smile. He served as judge advocate, in other words, a lawyer, in the 1st Marine Expeditionary Force. Got that? In Kuwait, Iraq, freedom. He received, I'll let you say it.
Army Commendation Medal, Navy Marine Corps Commendation Medal, Meritorious Service Medal, and a few others.
Thank you for that. I'm not a military wife. I have a hard time with this, but I sure appreciate the veterans. And his posting was the range of missiles. Let's see, we have the atom bomb, and we have missiles. Okay, we're pretty safe here. Okay, and he plays the guitar with Shoreline Pickers. Thank you. Now please step forward. This quilt was made by Rita Jones, who's on the far side. It's being held by Ann Beckett and Rita. Is that beautiful? You get draped now. This is really our honor to do this. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Okay, now we have Mike Tater. I think most of you know who Mike is. Mike was in the Army Signal Corps from 1970 to 1973. He was stationed in Germany, traveled to Ethiopia, Africa. How long were you there? 18 months in Ethiopia. He worked in communication at a communication relay site. He was responsible for communications all over the world, for action, embassies, airplanes, and we're not supposed to say this, but spy ships. He was working during the Nixon visit to China, and he plays the banjo in the band Virtual Strangers. And there's something else about Mike. He's the one that put this whole thing on for how many years? 18 years. So let's give him a hand for that and being a veteran. Would you please step up, Mike? What an honor to award to Mike also. This one was made by Marsha Leslie, and, right? Yes, and shown by Mary Waller and Barbara Myrick. Mike, thank you so much for your service and for allowing us to award you this quilt. Okay, so let's give these veterans a hand, and when we see the other two, thank them also.
Thank you, Dorothy, and all the Hilltop quilters. Give them a big hand for all those hours of quilting and quilting that they did. Okay, it's time for the lunch hour, but just before you leave, Marty's going to come back up and say a couple more reminders, so then we'll see you back here in about an hour.
Thank you, everybody.